fried chicken space is filling rapidly. Rather than try and be a restaurant and then also fight these guys, these behemoths, let's just focus on being a great chicken restaurant. It's forced us to do what we've always known we needed to do, which is great. And like, I'm thankful for it because it's made us go like, we're never going to be able to do an £8.95 chicken burger because that's insane and they can't be making any money on it. I think one thing we're good at is not being too precious. And if things need to change, they need to change.
Troy, thank you so much for doing this, mate. As I said, I think I can't remember when I first had Coqfighter. I think it may have been I think it was one of the Box Park sites.
I feel like Box Park's the kind of gateway drug.
It was the gateway drug. People, yeah, it was that because it was weird. I don't know who said it. I think it was the Pizza Pilgrims guy who said 2013 to 2017 was like for food. Was like the 1962 for music, where
I've never heard that before.
With the Beatles, because you basically had this melting pot of places like Box Park, loads of new up and coming startups like yourself, Instagram getting big, and it just created this foodie revolution, a bit like the music revolution. And I remember trying it. I was like, this is fucking insane.
Yeah, Street Feast.
That
whole like I think as like. Yeah, as you said, like an incubator time, it was pretty incredible.
Yes.
Also, I think the barrier to entry was so much less then. Like, you could just start a food business with kind of no fucking clue what you were doing.
Yeah.
As we did, and I think loads of people did. They just kind of jumped in and they had a crack at it, and then, hello mate.
Hi mate. Yeah. So we're rocking and rolling because
people just jumped in, and it was a really fun time.
It was like there's almost like these incubator and these gestation sort of things that got these food and business. Like everyone could make a shitload of mistakes.
Yeah.
In these kind of safe environments, and then go out like you guys have, like Stu as at Black Bear Burger, and Built. But what I'd love to start with, mate, is take me back to Melbourne. And to Chinatown in Melbourne.
Yep.
Because I think, from what I've gathered, is that you guys were walking around there and that was a really unique type of fried chicken. Like, I'm trying to get into the different, like...
Exactly.
Yeah, so talk to me about, paint the picture for me. What does it feel like when you're in Chinatown in Melbourne? How's it different to the one in London? And what's so unique about the fried chicken?
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I think the first kind of thing to cover is that most times when we went there, we were absolutely shit-faced at 3 a.m.
Fried chicken's always going to taste good when you're off your nut.
Not to discredit the food at all, but I think for us it wasn't just the chicken; it was the experience. It was everything around it. So, look, back in Melbourne, I was working at a burger joint called Grilled. Shout out Simon Crow. Great guy. Tristan was working there too, and Deacon was working on radio. So he would finish he'd do like a late night radio show. He'd finish at like 2 a.m. And then he'd also generally have like a DJ set afterwards.
Right.
And I would go and meet him, and he'd put me on his rider so I could get some free beers. I'd go and meet him, and I'd be like, cool, we'd party for a bit. 4:30 in the morning, we'd be like, wow, we need to eat. So biggest difference between Chinatown and Melbourne and in the UK is Melbourne particularly, is brilliant at letting people open late. So it's a real 24-hour city.
Right.
Everything's open late. You can go for a full service 3-course meal at 4 in the morning if you want. It's brilliant. It's incredible. Chinatown especially it just never stops. And often is like some places are at their busiest like midnight to 4 or 5 a.m. So we would kind of roll in there after having a few beers already to a place called Gammy, which is now quite a big chain, I think. I think they've done really well. And we'd order these huge plates of Korean fried chicken. And it was like very traditional. So you get your Korean fried chicken, it's a whole bird, diced, like literally cleave it up.
Wow.
And fried in like a really like heavy corn and rice flour mix, which is, I mean, heavy on corn flour and rice flour, not heavy. It's a very light coating. And then it would get tossed in one of like 4 or 5 glazes that you'd choose.
Yeah.
So we'd kind of get a mixed plate of that. We'd get a jug of beer. We'd eat a shitload of chicken.
Oh, yes.
And smash a jug of beer, and that would kind of be the end of the night. And it was always like, it's always just like, you'd meet people there, you'd see people that were in the club with you guys like 2 hours ago, and you'd be like, hey man, cool. You'd like end up joining tables. The staff were also like, you know, it's 3, 4 a.m. So like, they're trying to make it fun.
Yeah,
so like, It was just a vibe.
Yes.
A really good vibe.
What sort of music was Deacon playing?
Deacon was doing like house. I'm such a dad rock guy, so like, you know, I don't really.
What's your tipple?
I'm just an old man. I'm like, give me like Led Zeppelin.
Oh, sick. Yeah.
I'm an old soul. So, yeah, it was just, I think it was obviously the food was incredible, but it was also like, it's just a great way to end the night. When we all moved to London, we all moved kind of within 6 months of each other. We all ended up living together again, and we were in this house. Deacon was kind of trying to get a handle on radio in the UK. I don't really know what I was trying to do.
How old were you guys at this point?
I think I was 21.
Oh, so super young.
Yeah, I've been here. Yeah, I would have been 21.
Yeah.
I got a job in Byron Burger.
Yep.
I was waiting tables. Anyway, we were all kind of like back in that thing where we were all working late nights. And then what we realized in London was like, there's no late night food, and there was nowhere to, like, we were like looking for that and we just couldn't find it. Obviously replicating the late night thing's pretty tricky because of the way licensing is in this country.
Sure.
But we were just like, we talked about it a lot, and it was kind of stuck with us. We were like, remember that place? Like, it'd just be great if we had something like it. And then what we ended up doing is just cooking for friends at home. So obviously as we met people in the UK, and like I've got family here, so we kind of like built a little community. And then I was like, I like cooking. I can cook. My mum's an incredible cook. She taught me to cook from a very young age.
What sort of stuff did she cook you?
Honestly, like anything and everything.
Your mum, did you say you got family links here? Is your mum?
Yeah, so my dad's Australian, my mum's English.
Oh, nice. Where's she
my mum's
from?
Birmingham.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And then she moved to Australia, and then just could not believe that I was leaving Australia to move back.
Really?
It's like, I spent so much money trying to leave this place, and you've gone back there. So yeah, despite.
It's interesting. So one thing, there's kind of a thing a lot of not food podcasts, put it that way, but there's a whole thing of like loads of people kind of lambasting and slamming London and the UK at the minute. It's like everything's fucked. It's like, and kind of part of me think if you listen to that online, whereas on the ground it's like, you know, everyone's like, oh, you almost that whole sort of TikTokification which brings fear into it. Oh, if you walk down the street, you're going to get fucking mugged.
Yeah.
And it's like on the ground.
I have family that think that like, oh, is it safe?
Yeah,
and you have your phone out.
And it's the same thing with LA, right? So in LA, not that I've been recently, but like you've got all the thing of like San Francisco's completely fucked as a city. The whole, I think they've got that poo fucking thing which you can see where tramps have shit. Honestly, there's an app. That's not even a gag, mate. That's not.
What?
There's an app in San Francisco that.
No way.
I swear, my mum's
like a poo finder.
Yeah, poo finder. No, and this is what I'm saying. But it sort of creates this kind of warped reality of what it's like on the ground. And I think I listened to a guy called Eric Weinstein. He's like, mate, you walk down the street in LA, there's like nothing's changed. Yeah. A lot of people are saying this. It's like loads of people are leaving London. The whole place is fucked. And it's like,
I think from the outside, it looks really bad.
It looks from the outside really bad. But I'd love to know from your lad's perspective, what was the gravitational pull to go around the other halfway around the world to London? Like you could have gone anywhere. You could have gone New York. Why did London pull you?
To be honest, I think it was for me personally. There was some familiarity. Like I'd spent a lot of time here growing up.
Right.
Never lived here before, but like always, my family in the UK are wonderful people as well. I've got a really incredible network of family here as well. So it kind of felt like I think when you're 21 as well, you're still a little bit like, a bit scared.
Yeah.
I was like, I've got aunties there. Like I've got family that like, if everything goes tits up,
go around for a hobnob and
a cup of tea. Can you cook me some soup?
Yeah.
Can you stroke my hair? So I think I always just had like a bit of a, I had family here that would I knew could support me if I needed it. So that was always a nice, like, warming feeling. Deacon and Tristan, I think, I'm not sure why. I think it was probably somewhat, well, I know exactly why Tristan moved here. Tristan was chasing a girl.
Right.
Who I think he spent I think he really he basically upended his whole life to move here to chase this girl, and then they broke up like 6 weeks after he moved here or something.
That's how it always works.
How it always works, but all for different reasons. Deacon, obviously, for him, like for radio, at the time, like Radio 1, I think it just felt like a natural progression for him.
Yes.
To try and crack a bigger market as well.
Right.
So I think all different reasons, but then obviously this was the thing that kind of made us all stay.
Yes. No, it's mad. I hadn't thought of the radio thing. Because what was he wanting to be kind of like a broadcaster, or was it more? The DJing stuff?
I think probably more broadcasting.
Wow. Yeah, it's mad how I just love all these stories, like these sort of melting pot, like why people come and do these things and why you create.
I mean, it almost is like wild how it could never have happened.
Yeah,
It was literally just one night, and we were like, I was like, we can't find that fried chicken.
Yeah.
Shall I make some? Yeah, go on. And then I also, like, side thing, I was really getting quite into like reading about food science and like why things work, and like I was watching all these videos of like Heston putting vodka in batter because it lowers the gluten formation. I was like nerding out on all this shit. And I was like, yeah, cool, I'm gonna make this.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make these like amazing chicken wings.
What sort of stuff were you learning about the foods? Because we literally, the podcast that went out this week was Ashley Palmer Watts.
Oh wow, cool.
Who was Heston's head chef when they got 3 stars. And I was asking him, again, nerding out, because he's got the kiki and the babao. Have you heard about that? Which is like the different foods, by the way they sound, will invoke a different flavour of taste. So it's like strawberry is the babao sound, which is like that round sound. Kind of, and then like something like spicy would be more of a kiki sound. So like
kind of more like
almost like crispy fried. Yeah. And I was sat there nerding out on this, like, this is fucking mad.
What's the word? Onomatopoeic?
Onomatopoeia, yeah.
Word sounds like its meaning.
And he was also saying, I was talking about why are humans addicted to spice, right? Yeah. And he was saying that they plugged him in like something out the fucking Matrix into this thing with like loads of different tubes.
Yeah.
And he was in like an MRI chamber. And
horrible, aren't they?
Yeah, mate, I would not do that just to see why humans like spice.
I had one a few weeks ago.
Oh, it's absolutely grim. And basically, they had all these things, and they had different flavors going in, and the spice tolerance wasn't actually going up. But he thought in his head that they were just ramping more and more and more spice into it.
Whoa, wow!
Basically, what he learned is the pain. I was like, why are we addicted to spice? It's like the pain and pleasure receptors.
Yep.
They are basically the two sides of the same coin. Yep. So when you're getting loads of spicing, it's like
bondage for your mouth.
Yeah, quite literally. But yeah, what sort of stuff were you learning? Like, I'd love to know how you've applied sort of that weird food science to, I think, fried chicken, because this is not just fried chicken. It's like there's so much more depth.
Yeah, I think the product's changed a lot. I think one thing about us is like we've maybe for better or worse, like we've never like sat on our hands.
Sure.
We've constantly tweaked everything.
Yeah.
But originally, so like the first iteration of it was very much like proper Korean fried chicken. But what we were doing is we were using like a vodka batter in the coating, which is what Heston does with his fish and chips. Basically, the alcohol content lowers gluten formation. So you imagine like gluten in a pizza, right? You want to really work that pizza dough and get as much stretch into it, kind of build as much gluten as possible, because you want it to be stretchy, and that's the exact opposite of what you want in a batter.
Right.
Because that, when it's fried, gives you clagginess, gives you kind of chewiness rather than crispiness. So what you're looking is to inhibit gluten formation. So you want to get it as light and as like brittle as possible. Okay. And the alcohol content like slows down gluten formation. So so we were like, obviously jump forward a little bit when we were first starting out. We were like going to the shop at like 7 a.m. and just like buying like 20 liters of vodka, just like me and my chef covered in like chicken and flour.
Who are these Aussie alkies that have just
like, the guy at the off license next to the pub we were doing the pop up in was just like eyeing me up every time, like. And then like eventually he started stocking more vodka, and I would always be like, dude, have you got anything cheaper? Because like it doesn't matter what it tastes like. So like he started getting in these like 1.5 liter bottles of Glens for me, and I just must have looked like such an alcoholic.
Like, absolutely wrong.
Just like with a trolley coming back to the pub with a load of like cheap vodka.
You got a load of Glens vodka going into a boozer at 7 a.m. That's fucking hilarious.
We used to do these like we used to do these end of service shots called a cock shot, and it would just be like our hot sauce 50-50 with the Glen's vodka.
Wow.
And fuck.
I mean, that'll get you flocking, won't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Awful. But so I was very into that. I was very interested in how that worked, and I think we were just kind of made some food at home, and like first time Deacon and Tristan were like, fuck, this is really good. And also we'd done it a little bit different, so I was like making the food for the guys, and I was like, right, rather than glaze all the chicken and you kind of have to like choose one or the other and be like this horrible like, I was like, let everyone have everything. So I made all the glazes and then gave everyone a paintbrush to do it themselves. So there's a bit of like theatre to it as well. So we were just like cooking food at home, and everyone got these massive plates of wings. Big thing of like paintbrushes on the table, and then you kind of like brush your own sauce on. Choose what you want, mix and match.
There's a weird behavioural science thing about that, about personalisation. When 100%. when you have skin in the game, you're more the perceived value of it goes up.
Exactly.
So
people love barbecue.
Well, and also I interviewed the guy who's, funnily enough, actually Mark Palmer is the guy I was telling you about. Who's doing the Aussie stuff. He sits on the board at Aussie Nando's.
Oh right.
Really interesting. Wow. And I was like saying like, why is Nando's so successful? And half of it is, well, not half. Obviously, it's gross.
We've
sweet.
Talked about this as well.
But it's like the personalisation, because then you feel like not only are you getting the chicken, but you're going up.
Yeah.
And actually, it's genius because it means they've got less servers because you're basically serving yourself. But I mean, I go in and but it's the same thing with your paintbrush, and it's like once there's a real value add, conceptually and theatre.
Yeah,
that's fucking genius. Absolutely. So what? So this was when you were doing it in the boozer.
So this was literally. I mean, we kind of did that. We did that just when we were cooking for friends, and we did a few nights like that. And then we moved to a pub, and the way we moved to the pub was quite funny. So obviously, I'd worked in a restaurant before, but I had no experience as a chef, and none of us did, and none of us knew really anything. So we kind of had this idea, and I was like, cool, I'm going to throw a menu together. And it was basically just like a real basic menu.
Sure.
Wings and fries and real small. And we were like, we've got this hero product, and we want to get it out there. We think it's really good.
Which the hero product was?
The like wings, the Korean wings. So there's just nothing like it at the time. Korean fried chicken hadn't really entered the UK yet. So we were like, right, how are we going to do this? And I was like, right, we're going to do a food truck. We're going to do market stalls. We were like applying for all these things. While I was applying for one of the market stores, I saw an advert. I don't know if you remember how Facebook ads used to look. So you have your screen, you have a little sidebar, and you get the adverts on there. And there was an advert for the Star by Hackney Downs saying they needed a new chef. And I was like, let's give it a shot. Sent them an email, told them we'd run loads of restaurants in Australia, and we had loads of experience.
Yeah, you need a bit of...
Completely, sorry, Rob.
Yeah.
Completely lied through our teeth. And he was like, cool, come in and do a taste. We sent them a menu, and they emailed back and said, cool, come and do a tasting. When did the tasting, gaffed everything up, was really nervous. I was like shaking. I was like, oh, fuck. Food was terrible. Somehow they said yes. I think basically just because they had no one else at the time.
So this was to do your fried chicken and
Yeah.
That's mad. So you guys were super early on that, because that's now like the whole idea of a pub sort of outsourcing their food to a upstart is kind of now ubiquitous.
Yeah,
but back then that was quite a new.
We were one of the first, not one of the first. There was a few people doing it. There was a brand in before us that I can't remember the name of. Lovely guys doing really good burgers, but we were like, yeah, cool. This is going to be the way forward, because the other thing was like we literally had no money. We started the company with £500. Like I was broke. And it was the only way we could do it. Like it was less capex than doing even like a market stall, because for a market stall you'd have to go out buy fries, tables, a gazebo.
Yeah,
you'd be up for $2,500 even then. And
we were like, them, don't you?
And also you got to pay to be there. Whereas like the pub was like, right, you can start on this date. All you need to bring is yourselves, and obviously you need to bring some food to cook. So like we spent £500 on stock, a printer so we could print menus, and I think like some chef aprons. We did that, and we didn't have any suppliers either. So like we had to. I used to have a trolley that I'd stolen from the Tesco, and I used to keep it in the like doorway of the pub, and I would take that trolley to the butcher in Hackney Central, pick up my chicken at like 5 a.m, then go back, drop that off, prep it, then go to Tesco, grab a load of veg, and we just like, that's how we had to start.
Yeah.
So the whole
what's the vision at this point? Is it just like we're having good crack
or be honest, I think it was more that like I think the vision was just that Deacon wasn't really, like, Deacon had some work in radio, but he wasn't getting the work he wanted to get. Tristan and I were just kind of working in restaurants, and then anytime we weren't in the restaurant, we were just drinking.
Yeah.
And, you know, or like doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
So like, I think it was more like, right, let's just do something that's positive, that's fun, that we're going to enjoy doing, and like for ourselves, and just see what happens. Like, we were so young that like, if it all went tits up, it didn't fucking matter.
Yes.
You know, and like I think there's a real lesson there as well, is like when you're that young, if you've got an idea, it can only go so wrong. Like you can only fuck it up so bad.
Yeah.
As long as you know, and just like starting small as well, like letting it grow organically. Like we've never taken investment. We're still independent, and like
amazing.
It's been a fucking slog, and it's, you know, meant we're not able to pay ourselves loads of money and all that stuff. But like, it also just gives you that freedom of like, yes, I can do anything I want.
Yes. And when you're young, you have that sort of brash. You can brash oblivion naivety, which forces you to do something, and almost like high agency. I'm always intrigued with people who start things, like why they've got such high agency, why they're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna fucking do this.
Yeah.
I like people who.
Yeah, and I think that like, and sadly, I talk about this a lot. Like, I question whether I would do it again now.
Yeah.
Because as well, like, it was painful. You know, the first 4 years were literally like grueling, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would now.
Talk to me about the
same way.
So that early bit.
Yep.
4 or 5 years in, I ask a lot of these questions.
Yeah.
So we're 4 years into this, right? The first bit, you're just like, fuck it, like, I'm just going to interview some people. Like, there's no real plan to it. We'll figure it out. And then you kind of get through that, and when you look back retrospectively, you're like, oh my god, that was graft.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Then it starts going.
Yeah.
And it's great, but there's almost like this, as you called it, the slog period, which is like the naivety goes away, right? Yeah. The naivety fucks off, and you're like, oh shit, like I've created this monster. Well, yeah. Sometimes it's either a monster or like it is a monster, but you want it to be like a nice Shetland pony that you can just ride around on. But more often than not, it's a fucking monster.
Yeah.
And that slog period, because you guys have been going 15 years.
We've been going nearly 10.
Sorry, 10 years. You've been in London 15.
Been in London for nearly 12.
12, right, miles off then.
Don't worry.
But yeah, that slog, like, what keeps you keeping on during that slog period? Because I think it's like, someone called it the trough of sorrow, which is like that. It's quite a morbid way of putting it.
Trough of sorrow.
But it is that bit where you just got to like, how do you keep going in that? And how do you keep the joy in the work?
It's tricky because, you kind of have this like unbridled, you know, blinkers on, like everything's great and like I'll take on every opportunity and every problem that comes my way. And then you do get worn down by it. And eventually it's kind of like, it starts, you know, as you said, you start just going like, okay, right, this is real now. Also, like, naturally, just as things get bigger, it gets more real. Like, you know, opening Shoreditch, we had to take a loan out, and it was like, oh God, like we've got to take a loan from the bank.
How much did you have to take out?
Like 40 grand, which is like,
that's a shitload of dough.
Well, yeah, but like, you know, we ummed and ahed about it for months, and like, I'm glad we did it. Because like 40 grand, we opened and like had queues literally out the building down the road.
Yeah.
Day one, and I was like, thank God, we're fine. But yeah, I think to answer your question, I think you have to just be really resilient, and like you have to kind of every day just go like, okay, right, what I do can be really difficult, but also what I do is incredibly rewarding. And like it really is like to be able to. Well, I think like it's just the little things. It's an amazing review saying like, hey, this member of staff like gave us a great experience last night. We had the best time. You know, my baby was crying, and like they moved us into a quiet corner and they helped us out, and like We want to thank you so much. It's like, you know, or like I think we had a couple come in after a wedding once where like something had gone terribly wrong and like they were just had like food had gone wrong or something and they needed to come and eat some food like 6 hours after they'd been married, and they come in and had a really nice time.
Wild, yeah.
And like, it's those little things, they're really rewarding. And I think also like just talking to people about it, like whenever you kind of explain it to someone else, it reminds you how good it is, like, and how much fun it is, and like, you know, and like that you've actually made it work, and that's quite fulfilling, I think.
It's always the small things, isn't it? Because you could get so pulled up into the right. We've got to raise this much dough, or we're going to open this site, and we've got to get that site up and running, and it's like we've got these bills to pay, but it's like that's stress. That's the monster.
Yeah.
The Shetland pony, multicolored fucking pony, is the couple coming in with the wedding, and it's just like you've got to try. I think you're titillating between both those sides. It's like if you're too much this way on the sort of the, you know, I think egregious monster, then you.
That's the thing with being, you know, and like I think every founder I've ever spoke to says this is like you really need to be able to hold both in equal regard. You need to be able to look macro, look micro, see the big picture, look forward, but also be able to walk into a restaurant and see all the small details and be able to hold on to both equally and realize that they're both equally important and not lose sight of the little things, because like as soon as you and like we've been guilty of it, you know, I think you have periods, like we've had periods where we've been opening like this site and Soho's kind of lost a bit of our love, and we've gone like, oh shit, the Eye of Sauron needs to shift back because like it, you know, and keeping that founder's touch, direct input, I think is really important,
mate. The biggest learning I've got from the podcast is what you're saying now is a thing called a barbell strategy, which is this clever fucker called Nassim Taleb, but I've read his book like 10 times, and it's all about being anti-fragile. Which basically,
I need to get that off.
If you're anti-fragile, mate, like you're all good, mate. Get a beard down your eyes too early. But basically, what he's saying is, and it's the biggest learning I've got from the podcast is the ability to hold two opposing things at once. So as you said, it's like the focus on the scary projects, but also be really appreciative of the
little things.
The little things. Another one for me is like have huge amounts of self-belief, but not too much, because then that equals hubris.
Yeah.
But then also have self-doubt, because that will like make you get better. That will make you be all over everything, you know, checking that everything's working. But if you have too much self-doubt, then you ain't going to open the second site.
Yeah.
And I think, as you said, that it's trying to hold those two tensions. Are there any other tensions that you think are worth, that you've sort of picked up on with doing this?
Yeah. Tensions. I would say, rather than tensions, what I would say is relationships. I would say that I think I think we've kind of almost like gotten through tricky periods where maybe we shouldn't have, or, you know, we've been able to like navigate situations. I would like to think anyway that like we have really good relationships with all of our suppliers. We have great relationships with all of the staff that work for the business. And I think if you kind of, you know, almost like in every part of your business, if you treat it a little bit as if it's a community, you'd get so much more back. Like I've had to lean on all of my suppliers so much in the last 18 to 24 months.
How so?
Being an annoying customer and being like, I need this now. No one's ordered it. Sort it out, please. And them just going, yeah, no worries. Or, you know, like, obviously you must have you've probably spoken to a lot of people about this. Food costs are mental. Restaurants is really struggling to make money right now. You know, if your burger's gone up £1.50, stop complaining. It should have gone up £3.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think everyone needs to hear that a bit more right now.
Why so? What?
So food costs are spiraling, right? But like
I get that, but like why the 350 versus 150? Like as in
you know, like I just think that costs. Problem is, personally, I think it all comes down to perception of value. So you've got you know, people that aren't in the industry, people like punters coming in and having food are just going, why is everything going up constantly? Fair enough. You know, so they should ask that question. I'm not getting paid anymore. Why should I be paying more? I think the rate that you know, the overheads for a restaurant and food costs are inflating is so much faster than prices are actually going up. So like our pricing hasn't caught up with our costs. No way. And it probably never will. We'll probably never recover back to those same
margins.
So everyone's kind of right now trying to make their restaurants work. And not just restaurants, plenty of businesses, but like they're trying to make businesses work with completely different cogs and kind of like rebuild the whole thing from scratch. Like, you know, suddenly you've got to find 5%, so your labor's got to come down a bit. But then how do you keep the experience?
That's what I was going to say.
That's where it gets tricky.
Yeah, so how do you, again, that's another tension, right? Or relationship.
Yeah, it is. It's a balancing act.
Yeah, so one of the things someone said to me is scale kills magic. So it's like as you get bigger, how do you keep the magic alive? And like we were just in.
That is a great question.
Yeah, we were just in Pret, right? And I've interviewed Julian Metcalf on the show, and he was the sort of the first guy to be like, I don't give a fuck about the P&L. If you want to give someone a free croissant or a free flat white, fucking do it. And that stopped for a long time. Admittedly, because of COVID, they did the Pret scheme and all that. We've just been in there, like some of the best service I've experienced, and they're like, it feels like they're back on their feet, and they're like, do you want to? You look like having a tough day, not to me, to one of the punters. I'm like, just have a free cappuccino. Yeah. And it's like, but that is, you can't just fucking do that.
To do that on scale, but also to manage that and be like, right, over however many sites they have, like hundreds. Yeah. You know, like don't give away too many, but you know, it's tricky.
Like, so scale kills magic, but then what now is killing the magic is just the cost of everything going up. So how have you begun to sort of look at Coqfighter and be a bit malleable and move and change it around a bit?
I mean, plenty of things, and I could go on about it for a really long time. I'll try and keep it brief, but I think so. We've kind of experienced that. I think like right now we've got a real, like the three of us are having a real focus on the brand as a whole, service, keeping that magic. I think if anything, like we've kind of come back and we're doing it better than ever right now.
Yes.
I think there's a period maybe after COVID where we did lose a bit of that.
What did you lose?
Just a little bit of that warmth, because I think COVID for us was hectic. We were opening delivery kitchens left, right, and center because we had no rent relief on any of our sites. Like we've got to cover the rent or we're going to go bust. So we were like, Deacon, Tristan, and I were in the car every day, like unloading fryers, it was busy.
Sure.
And then I think after COVID, there was a bit of a period of like when everything reopened up, we were so drained that we all kind of just maybe for a few months went like, took a bit of a deep breath. And I think that, I think what we've realized as well is like, as a founder, it really is like, it's quite often you that makes the brand, whether you like it or not. And it's your personal touch and whether or not you're serving customers, but just being in your, being around your teams and again, community and like being around more. And I think like right now we're back in our sites loads. We're really making an effort to kind of really understand the business again from the ground up. And I think that's kind of where the magic happens is, again, it's the small things, it's me and Deacon did a shift 2 nights ago and Deacon just giving away some food to some people that had come in and loved it and been raving about it. And, someone the other day was here while I was shooting next month's special and they were really interested. So I was like, why don't you try it? Gave them some of this month's collab with Dr. Stings, gave them a bottle of hot honey.
Sick.
Tiny thing, blew their mind. They were like, oh my God, this is amazing. We love it. I also have introduced them to a new brand, Dr. Stings. They're like, cool, we love it. Now they're one of their customers. It's those little interactions. And I think as well, when you're not physically in your sites and you don't have the money that Pret do to have an amazing ops team to go like, right, this is what we want to push into our sites, it has to be you. So us coming back in and doing a bit of, being with the teams and be like, it's okay to do that, if you've got a group, like give them a shot, if they're interested in trying something, let them try it. Don't worry too much about those little things. It has to be you that demonstrates that. So,
yes. Is there anything else? I love that idea of almost like from the bottom up going almost literally with sort of microscopic and kind of forensic looking through evidence and like, sort of those freebies, those surprises, those Easter eggs of magic. Is there anything else you sort of picked at, or any other, not necessarily like customer facing, but even maybe, because I think you can innovate not just customer facing, but like the back end as well.
Absolutely. What I would say is, I mean, like, because I'm obviously the food side of the business, so I've been in the kitchens a lot more lately. I mean, not that we were ever out of them, but like we're kind of, it's a direct focus point right now.
Yeah.
So, again, I would just say like, you know, it's just listening to your teams. Like we had this great idea we have like stickers that go on the burgers, right? And we have like a different sticker for every item. So like, you know, we've got like 6 burgers, like 6 different wings. There's like a roll up there of like 19 stickers. And I was like, doing my head in. And there's like, there are little wrappers everywhere in service. It's just messy. So I was like, right, one sticker, tick box. They just tick off what it is. I was like, amazing. And then a week in, the staff have been like, Troy, we didn't want to tell you. These stickers are a fucking nightmare. They were like, please, can we have the old stickers back? And I was like, no, you're insane. Like,
what was the thinking with loads of different stickers?
Well, so they rather that because it means...
From originally to have 19 stickers.
Oh, right. Honestly, just idiocy. Just us being like that, just not looking at it. Looking at it properly and going like, sticker for every SKU. They were like, oh, this tick box thing's a nightmare. It's really slowing down service. So I was like, bullshit. Came in, did service, and like, they're kind of right. You know, because you've got to have the pen, and you're like,
yeah.
So like, it's fine. We've got another solution now that's something completely different. But like, I think just listening to your teams as well, like the people that work in your business day to day know it in a lot of ways better than you do from, you know, in that sense. And I think there's a mistake that a lot of people make, maybe not so much anymore, because I hear this a lot as well, but like traditionally, you know, the boss saying like, do it because I told you so. Or just being a little bit belligerent and being like, well, no, I've said it's right, so it's right. So, you know, getting insights, listening to your teams, finding out why they don't like something. Generally, it's not because they're being difficult. Generally, it's because they want to do a good job and they're trying to do things in the most efficient way possible. And they're generally seeing, you know, opportunities for it. And often they don't even know if they like, you know, sometimes they're like, oh, we don't, like, how do you feel about this? I'm like, yeah, please tell me.
Yes.
Like, give it to me. Let me, I want to hear it.
It's almost having your like founder tentacles, octopus tentacles, like in... and extracting the
I guess
gold,
the way, like generally when if I do a shift, I'm like, guys, you're my boss tonight. What am I doing? So I think that's the best way to approach it. Like, let them, you know, obviously let them feel that they know that they can speak to you about anything, but also that that their thoughts, their insight is valid, and that you appreciate it, whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, but you want to hear it. And I think like letting your staff know that you want that feedback and that insight is really important.
Are there any other like interesting feedback you've got from sort of the bottom up that you've made changes?
Oh, loads over the years.
Yeah, I mean, over the years, like
over the years,
ones.
Little things not working. I mean, like, I'm trying to give you a good example. Little things like, you know, they'll be like, oh, well, the baker's packing this like this, and it doesn't work with this box. Can you change it to like 8 buns per bag instead of 12 because it'll fit perfectly in the box? And like, it's just someone nerding out about like Jenga of buns in a box. It's like little things like that, and they're not, you know, often they're not huge. I mean, or like one of the big ones we had a few years ago was the way that tickets were printing. They weren't printing in any kind of order. So like, you would get a check through, and it would just be like, it'd be a burger, then it'd be an add-on, then it'd be a wings, then it'd be fries, then it'd be another burger, then a roast chicken, then it'd just be all over the place rather than being grouped. And I think like little things like that, like them saying like, this is a nightmare. If you can fix this, that'll make it way easier. Yeah. And it does, and it makes things way more efficient, and food time's improved drastically because of it. It's all the little things.
Yes. Which compound.
Yeah.
What's your, I think like the ability to face problems, almost like, you know, in the gym when you get like calluses on your hands, that sort of hardens over time.
Yeah, mine are a bit soft at the moment.
Yeah.
I
mean, I'd fucking dropped the 25 kg plate on that's been like that since
my bum do that.
Mate, that's been like that since January. I'm like waiting for it to grow back.
I had a bike accident last year and I completely lost my...
because don't you go... I saw on your Instagram, you go motorbikeking.
Yeah.
In some wild places. Talk to me about that. Like,
so my always loved anything with an engine.
Right.
My dad used to race Speedway for the Australian Speedway team.
What's Speedway?
Speedway, like motorbike going around in a circle.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Like flat track.
Yeah. I was thinking of that film Tagadella Nights.
Yeah. Not quite.
But it's on a motorbike.
Yeah. So he used to do. That's how he met my mum, actually. Mum was like, "Ooh, man in some leather," and yeah. So he was always into bikes. And then when I was growing up, I used to race go-karts.
Sick.
In Australia. So always been into anything like that, and then always wanted to get a road bike, and my dad was just like, absolutely not. So as soon as I moved to London, I was like,
absolutely fuck
too far away. Get the bike, Dad. Sorry. So yeah, bought a Harley and have now crashed many of them.
How many motorbike crashes have you had?
3.
Wow. Talk me through those.
I only one big one. The last one was filtering through traffic. Woman didn't see me in a rear view and just.
I thought it was in London.
It was in London. Yeah.
I was expecting some like some being Chamonix in the Alps.
No, thank God. No. It was literally like my flat was like 30 seconds away.
Oh.
Yeah, broke my skull in like 8 places.
Fucking
fractured
hell.
Both cheekbones, my nose, dislocated my collarbone, my shoulder. Had a good one.
Yeah. When was that?
Nearly a year ago. So yeah, but how do we get into bikes?
Oh, mate, I've got severe ADHD, so we'll just jump around. Yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah.
No, but yeah, lots of fun. Love it. Absolutely
and what's the so how does that? So when you go on these long rides, because I think I saw a picture on Instagram of like you in the Alps and stuff.
Yeah, I try and do one every year with a group of friends.
Yeah. There's a book called the Zen of Art, motorcycle, the art Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance. It's a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah, that's it. I've not read it, but I've got it. It's it's there.
Yeah, I mean, so I just think the title's good.
Yeah,
and I think how does motorcycling give you zen?
To be honest, it's literally that is the main reason for it. I think obviously, as we all know, like this can be quite a stressful industry.
Yes.
And also just restaurants especially, you're never off the clock. There's my screen time is just horrendous. Like you're always on and you're always kind of checking in or there's always an issue or someone's called in sick or a fry is broken or it just never ends.
Yeah.
So it's for me, I think like the bike firstly is obviously like it's really fun riding around on a motorbike. It's great fun. It's the closest thing you can do.
Do you rag it about like in?
Yeah. Sometimes.
Are you one of them Harleys or are you one of them?
I'll show you.
Yeah. Show us a picky.
It's a big Harley. It's
So you're sat down like what's that? Not War Dogs. That film.
I'll find it for you.
Yeah. But you're low down like you're riding like that.
Yeah. I've got a couple. I've got a chopper which is a bit more like that, and then I've got another one which is like a bit more of a speedy one.
Right. Is that not really uncomfortable?
It's not. It's more like that.
No, but when you're on those chopper ones.
Oh.
Or do you just get used to it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have anyone like. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
That is the ape hangers thing.
Yeah.
It's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, mine are quite comfy. I'm like mid range.
Yeah. So it's the mechanics of.
I mean, look, working on them's great. I especially like Harleys always break down, so loads of opportunity to do that. I rent a garage with 4 friends. We've got all our bikes in there. There's like 20 motorbikes in there. It is very much like the kind of the man cave thing. You go there, like if I have an evening off, go there, put some music on, open the garage door. We've got a little barbecue out the back as well.
Yes.
Like it's just really like sit there, have a beer, take something apart, put it back together again. It is quite zen to it. There's a real. Also, I think there's something inherently calming about focusing on a small task.
Yeah.
So there's that, and I think also the other side of it is like when I moved to London, I didn't really found it quite difficult to really kind of like meet my people. Obviously, started meeting people in the food world.
Yeah.
I met some of my best friends through the pub residencies. My friend Maxime, who is the general manager at Plunk, me and him met at one of our residencies. and didn't really sleep for 6 months because we were partying too much. But yeah, I've met loads of people through that. But I think then like bikes and the whole like there's a real community around it.
Yeah.
I've kind of met lifelong friends through that, and that's amazing. Doing those trips is incredible because like we'll kind of do like 14 days, start in London, literally ride through 12 countries, and then ride back. It's incredibly relaxing.
Is like there's these things. Yeah, it's it's like the sort of the juxtaposition of the aggression of the motorbike and the calminess. But it's true. It's like you need to find these things that are like that give you that like not peace of mind, but peace from mind.
Exactly.
Because I think I agree. I'm the same with you, where I'm like I can if I want to be on it just all fucking day. Even if I'm like out and something comes in, I'll be checking Instagram. Yeah. And it's just like I can't get peace from mind, and it's
I think as well, like, I don't know if you've read about the kind of like shower incubator thing, right? So loads of people, myself included, your best ideas come in the shower.
Yes.
And it's a combination of there's no distractions. You can't have your phone in the shower. Thank God they haven't made them that waterproof yet. But it's the noise, it's that static, it's the noise, it's the warming, it's the whole thing. But like I consistently will. Maybe once a week, I'll have a really long shower that I maybe spend a bit too much money on the water. Sorry, Flick, my housemate. But it's like, that's where, your brain kind of can calm down and fresh ideas can like actually kind of bubble up to the surface. I think same thing on a bike. It's, you kind of throw your earplugs in, you've got the sound of the bike, there's nothing else happening. You can't be doing anything else, and you're kind of just,
Is it like a go-kart? I mean, my only go-karting experience was down in Chessington by the A3. Yeah. I did that for an hour, and I came off that thinking, shit, like, because obviously you just the only thing you're focused on is taking over that next person. And I mean, it's like this is like it's the same sort of. Okay, I get that.
It's so addictive.
Also, because your hands are moving like this. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming like your body can't it probably takes a lot. Your body can't really focus on what's going on as well.
Exactly. You can't. I mean, you can't do anything else. You literally can't. So
in terms of the brand building piece, like Harley Davidson's a brand that is hugely revered. Yeah. I'd love to know, and as I say, we just go wherever we go with this. Yeah. What from like the consumer perspective of like you said, you couldn't find your tribe, you couldn't find your people. Mm-hmm. You then almost through this community, whether it was Harley or not, or even just motorbikers in general, like you found your tribe, you found the thing that gave you connection and status and all those things. Like, what are some of the lessons you've taken from that you've kind of applied to this and fried chicken?
Okay, I mean, again. Not to keep banging on the same thing, but I would go back to community.
But when you let's really like sink into that.
I mean, with that friend circle, I think having that like common thread, that that shared passion for something, it creates friendships that are a little bit deeper than your normal ones, because there's like there's a common goal you're working towards in a way, whereas like and I think you've got to kind of restaurants or any business, it's kind of the same thing. It's that, I mean, a lot of my best friendships have come through. I mean, I work the other two founders are my two best friends.
Sure.
And I think when you work together on something and you kind of building something together, that's where your deepest connections are made. And I think same thing, with whether it's working on, whether it's working in the garage till 2 a.m. 4 nights in a row so that you can all get your bikes ready last minute to get on this trip to the Alps and then go and like have this incredible time together where like you're literally with each other every moment for 15 days, or whether it's, building a brand together and spending years working on that is kind of where your deepest connections come from.
What are like the mechanics of brand building that you've learned?
What I would say is, I think brand building for us has been something we're still, to be honest, I think it's something we're still kind of always in a state of flux with. We've always known, we've always had clear goals. We've always known what we wanted to be, but I think we've quite often been told that we shouldn't be that.
Unpack that more.
So we've always wanted from very early on, we've always wanted to be a restaurant, right? And And the dream was...
I love the a la carte menu in a chicken restaurant.
To be, genius. Exactly. And the dream was to be a dine-in restaurant with great service, with good cocktails, and also with more than just fried chicken. And now we do roast chicken, we do grilled chicken. We're just a great chicken restaurant. And I don't... We're kind of at the moment trying to shift the public perception of this as a chicken shop or a fried chicken brand to being a chicken restaurant. And that's something we're working on now.
Yes.
I'll tell you everything about what we're doing with that, but that's something we're working on now. And I think we've always felt that deep down. We've talked about it for years and years and years, and everyone we've spoke to, not everyone, most people we spoke to have just have said, look, it's not going to work. You've got to be QSR. Why? Like, no one's interested in dining in to have a chicken burger. No one's interested in that. Like, why are you pushing dine-in so hard? And eventually, I think after there was a point where we let that get to us a bit, and we really we had this like maybe 18 months where we were like, what are we? Because we had Box Park, and that's how we started. We started out QSR, but we always had dreams of being dine-in. When we opened Soho, we were like, right, we're a dine-in restaurant. But then COVID hit, and we kind of had to pivot back to pushing delivery really hard. So we were a bit like lost.
Yeah.
And then in the last year, we've gone, right, we've always wanted to be dine-in. We've always wanted to be a restaurant. That's where we excel. And that's where we are, like, our menu's built for that. There's so much more going on our menu than just, fried chicken with like, we're very different to most fried chicken brands in what we offer. And we were like, right, fuck it. Let's hone in on what we've always known we are. Let's just focus on the dine-in restaurants. Everything else is just a distraction. We've shrunk because of that, and we're now we're 3 restaurants. We've still got Box Park in Croydon, but and we've got a great team down there. And
so how much? What have you shrunk from to?
Well, we had plenty of delivery kitchens, and now we've scaled all that back, and we've got 3 dine-in restaurants, and we've got Croydon Box Park, and
it's mad. So this, what we were talking about earlier about like how that when you're in the beginning, it's just you, so no one's telling you what to do, and you've just got so much brand confidence because that's the only thing you can really have. And then as you get bigger, like the winds of distraction come, and the zephyrs
100%.
come and pull you. And I think you can have that. And I've had these moments where you sort of lack confidence in what I'm doing. People are like, do the podcast for 45 minutes to an hour. And then you start getting, I'm like, no, I don't want to fucking do that. Like, I want to create the thing I want to create.
I want to
and you've got to have that. Yeah, I want it to be like, if we did an hour, we wouldn't be talking about motorbike crashes.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is what I get but I think you can lose that. You start thinking, oh shit, am I doing good? Like, how did you go from this state of kind of brand kind of unconfidence to confidence? Because pretty much everyone listening to this will go through that at some stage.
100%.
And it's like, it's not as easy thing to pull yourself out of the abyss of that. Do you know what I'm saying?
No. And if anything, it's harder because at that point...
You've got success.
Well, yes.
Well, not success, but you've got money coming in.
Exactly.
So it's like,
and also the thing is, it's like, I think one of the hardest things you can do as a founder, but also like one of the most important things you can learn is knowing when to say no to turnover, money, income, and just say like, no, this is not part of the plan. Like, we need to stop getting fucking distracted by all the noise, because it is really, we have a weekly, delivery is obviously a big part of our brand, and and now we're looking at it as like, right, we almost hold it in 2 separate kind of ideals, and we go, right, this is how we need to be the best we can on delivery, because it's a real viable part of our business.
Sure.
So we have a real focus on that, but then separately, this is how our dine-in restaurants need to operate.
That's another tension, isn't it?
And it is a tension, but I think we've had this kind of calmness wash over us recently, where I think we've come out of that fear of how do we do both, and how do we merge them together into something, and and to just go like, right, we are a restaurant business. We also have a delivery business, and almost treat them as 2 separate businesses.
Yeah.
And having that mental clarity and kind of
really
split of the two, I think is for us really important. But and again, like, we were doing all these dark kitchens because we were like, right, we need more turnover. We need more turnover. We need to scale this thing, and it was kind of treading water and work for the sake of work and turnover for the sake of turnover. We weren't really making any profit out of it, but also we weren't really able to build the kind of teams that we are able to in a dine-in restaurant. And therefore we weren't able to deliver the same product, even on delivery, because we weren't getting that same investment back. So I think we've just learned that, like, right, we need to, like, we've always felt that we're a restaurant brand and we've always wanted to be that. And that's always been our dream. So let's stay in our lane and let's just do that.
Yeah.
And now we are like laser focused on that. We're hopefully opening two restaurants this year. And we're also way more confident in what we're doing is right. And I think, like,
where did that
going back to confidence?
Come from? Yeah.
Honestly, I think sometimes confidence is it just has to be between you and your own mind and sheer brute force and saying, stop being scared.
Yeah.
You know that you can do this. Stop doubting yourself. Just do it.
What are the voices and the rainfall of self-doubt for you? What does that voice sound like?
Constant.
I thank that for that, because I'm the same, mate.
Well, I think, look, the thing is, when
Rich, can we just check that one? Because the red mean it's on. Okay, sweet. We'll go. Yeah,
we're good.
Yeah, what does that sound like for you?
I think over the years it's been different. I think at the beginning it was, I don't know what I'm doing. I shouldn't be here. Imposter syndrome. I've never worked in a restaurant. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yes, mate.
To then going, oh, are we ever going to, like, are we ever going to get recognized for this? Is it going to, and then suddenly you do, and that gives you that confidence. But then I think now that little voice is different, and it's purely down to social media, because you're constantly seeing, this projection of success from other brands. And you especially chicken right now, we're seeing loads of big brands from the US move into our sector, and there is a real fear of, like, are we just going to get stomped out by some of these big boys?
Yeah.
And I think, again, that's
who's moving
why,
over.
Well, I mean, like, Popeyes have opened however many sites. You've got Chick-fil-A coming over. There's a brand called Bonbird who definitely ripped off our logo design in the UAE, but it's cool. Don't worry. Who
then
just taken private equity and are opening 60 sites next year. But I think, again, and this is why I think it's really galvanized us, is the fried chicken sector is being heavily populated. Like the QSR fried chicken space is filling rapidly. Chicken Shop are doing a great job of it. Popeyes are doing a great job of it. Bonbird will do a great job of it. And I think that we've just gone, like, rather than try and be a restaurant and then also fight these guys, these behemoths, let's just focus on being a great chicken restaurant. And it's kind of, it's forced us to do what we've always known we needed to do, which is great. And, like, I'm thankful for it, because it's made us go, like, we're never going to compete. We're never going to be able to do an £8.95 chicken burger, because that's insane and they can't be making any money on it unless, who knows how they're doing it. But it's really forced us back into our lane. And I think you've got to have some kind of fluidness.
Yes.
Or you've got to be agile and be able to say, right, what we're doing now isn't right. We need to pivot, and you need to be you constantly tacking.
Yes.
Never quite.
Oh, for
never
sure.
Like concept, proof of concept, sell the thing, or take investment and open 40 sites. It's always a constant kind of, navigation. And being able to, I think one thing we're good at is not being too precious. And if things need to change, they need to change.
How to get your challenger brand into more supermarkets and increase your current distribution in half the time. Range reviews are happening right now, right this millisecond. Sainsbury's, Waitrose, Tesco, Ocado, Co-op, all looking for new banging challenger brands. Don't miss this range review and have to wait another 6 months. It's long. Don't lose precious shelf space to your competitors. Don't let your buyer pick another brand just because you didn't have a Grand Slam deck. Northstar Category Management help you create banging supermarket pitch decks, so good that buyers find it impossible to say no to. Challenger brands like Perfect 10, Trip, Bold Bean Co, Dash, all love Northstar. Look, I am so confident in Northstar transforming your brand. We've got an exclusive Hungry offer. Your first month for free. Yes, free. Plus, we're going to give you a free 30-minute consultancy session to see how your brand is currently performing in category. Click the link in the show notes to book your consultancy session and thank me later.
What you said there is like, there's so much on that. So like, the first thing is, I don't know who said it, I think it's the strategist guy. There you go, mate. Yeah, I'll go for some as well. There's a guy who wrote a book called No Bullshit Strategy. Yeah. Alex Smith, he's been on this pod. He's a proper good mate of mine, actually. And he, he's just like a brand strategy guy. And he always says that like competitive advantage is an inside job. And by that he means is like, look what if you look into what is in here, it's like, we want to be a fucking restaurant. Well, actually, with all these other the QSRs coming in, it's like, that's going to be our positioning and our 100%. Point of difference. Yeah. And then the other thing which Seth Godin taught me, which is your competition should be your colleagues, i.e., so you say, let them, so all these QSR people come in, and you say, right, if you want QSR, go and see my colleague Popeyes, and you'll get that. If you and they will say, but if you want a restaurant, you come to us.
Exactly.
And how? I mean, it doesn't, because competition's competition, but it's a very kind of utopia way of looking at things. But what should be happening is Popeyes would be saying, right, if you want fast food, come here. If you want an actual restaurant, sit down with a load of beers, go there.
Yeah.
And I think, I think it's so right. It's about, and I've had these doubts and stuff with this. So am I doing what I'm meant to be doing? And it's just like.
Also, it's so easy now to be looking at what everyone else is doing.
Because of social media. Yeah.
You know?
So do you not look at, so how do you navigate that?
No, I do all the time. I think,
Yes,
and like, it's tricky. You know, you still, you know, the kind of the worry and the self-doubt can creep up on you. But I think, I don't know why it's kind of happened this year, but I do, for the first time in a long time, really kind of have like a calmness about, like, I know that what we're doing, we're putting out food that's better than we've ever done it. We're constantly working on that, and like, we've never kind of rested on that. Like, I feel like our business is in the best place it's ever been in.
Yeah.
And the vision is kind of finally, after 9 years, like the final kind of vision is kind of finally being realized.
Right.
And I feel really good about it.
Yes.
And that's fantastic. And also seeing, as we're just talking about, seeing a space that we kind of used to kind of dip our toes into just become bigger and bigger and bigger and get more and more occupied has made me way more comfortable with going like, right, well, that's fine. We don't need that.
Yes.
We're going to go here.
Yes.
Because we're not that. And I think, like when you talk about the magic as well, the magic of our brand is more than getting, than ordering on a
screen.
On a screen, and we have them, but obviously, like, the real magic for us is that we have a menu that you can come in with 6 friends, and there's something for everyone, and there's roast chicken, there's grilled chicken, there's more exciting flavors. We do like laksa butters and all sorts of stuff. So there's a bit more to it, and I think that's where the magic is, that you can come and enjoy all that and have a cocktail and hopefully
and they're just gorgeous restaurants. What's wild is I'm looking at that picture, we were talking earlier about the pink, I didn't even realise, I hadn't even looked at that, about the it's either a monster or a donkey.
Yeah.
There's literally, for listeners, there's a picture of a pink horse.
These all the artwork's done by my housemate Felicity Marshall. She's incredible.
Sick.
So, she's doing some work for us at the moment now. But
so we've
got all her artwork in all the restaurants.
Wow. Because it's fucking fun. Yeah, it's fucking fun. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll take a picture and we can have it slide on the screen. But that's like a pink horse thing, which is wild. On that note of competitors versus colleagues, what would you say are some of the most underrated chicken places in London?
Oh, that's a really good question. Underrated chicken places in London. Let me have a quick think about that. Depends on the type of chicken. There's I can't even remember the name, but there's this, like, you've got like all the kind of Nando's like knockoffs, right?
Yeah, Roosters.
Yeah. There's a peri-peri chicken place that I order from. It's near Lee Bridge. I don't actually know exactly where it is, but I get it delivered quite a lot. If I'm like on the couch, It's fucking great.
Really?
So good. And it's like, it's that proper like tangy, there's like loads of, there's no fresh lemon in it. It's like citric acid. Ooh. It's like full on like sauce out of a packet. But I don't know what it is that they're using, but like that, and then like it's proper wood fired as well. Like you can tell it's like done on wood, but it's that combination of like kind of almost like fake sauce.
Yeah.
It's like really punchy and it's great.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. I would say fried chicken. Look, I think what Chicken Shop are doing for the scale that they're kind of doing it at now is incredible. I think they're doing a fantastic job. And I love the fact that, like, we talk about them a little bit as almost like a gateway drug for our brand, because people kind of, people have fried chicken, they start with, maybe they're getting, maybe their experience is KFC, right? And then, I love KFC, by the way.
I love KFC, man. Like, it is.
I think it's like, I love it.
I smashed a Zinger meal the other week. I was off my nut.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is just, I've entered sort of nirvana. Like, do you know what I mean?
You know the hot wings, right?
Yeah, they're fucking
in
unreal.
Australia, you can get you can get your original recipe. You can get like it's a whole bird chopped up.
Yeah.
You can get that, but in the same coating as the hot wings. It's called hot and spicy.
Oh.
And it comes in like a black bucket with this.
Oh, so the bucket's got the hot. So the actual pieces are in the fried. In
the hot and like I literally grew up like smashing that. It's probably still my favorite fried chicken. Like, I know I shouldn't say that, but it is.
Yeah. Are there any little quick quirky spots in Chinatown that do really good fried chicken?
I haven't actually eaten any fried chicken in Chinatown. I think like because Gami was like this formative kind of place for me. I think I kind of just went, I've done it. Like,
yes,
I've had Nirvana, and I'm going to learn from the best, and it really was incredible. Hopefully it still is. I'm sure it's still there. It really was great though. The other place I'd say is, where was I going to go with this? I've lost myself.
Underrated fried chicken.
Yeah, underrated fried chicken. You know what I haven't tried yet, but I really want to, because I used to love it when it was Other Side Fried, is Buster's. I'd love to try it. Haven't been down there yet.
Other Side Fried changed to Buster's?
Yeah, so they've kind of like merged the two, and it looks incredible. Like whatever you guys are doing looks great.
Oh, because they've got that restaurant plus side, I think, as well. Yeah. That's mad. What have been some of the other learning? Like, I think there's a thing between like 2D learnings and 3D learnings. Yeah. So like 2D learnings is like you read a fucking textbook and it's like, you can learn it from a textbook. 3D learnings are something you can only experience through experiencing it, right?
Yep.
So it could be like, for example, heartbreak. You can't learn heartbreak in a gimpy management textbook. You can't learn grief in that. Yep. I think that's the same with building a business.
Yeah.
What are some of those sort of 3D lessons? Those ones that are like, fucking hell, like that was so painful, but in that pain, it taught me so much deep wisdom.
All of it. I would say, look, there's been those kind of painful lessons. They come in different stages of growth, and I think the first one of those for us was close to day one in the pub, not having ever cooked food professionally before, was just not understanding how a commercial kitchen works and looking at it from a home chef perspective. And some of the shit I did was so dumb, man. Like, I used to hand make my own bao buns every morning at 5 a.m. because I thought you had to make every single thing from scratch. And they were great. But you can also buy them made from a guy called Tan, who makes fantastic bao in an industrial park in Leighton. I don't know if he still makes them anymore because we don't serve bao anymore, but you can just buy them from him and they're still handmade and they're fantastic, and not spend 4 hours a day doing that. Mm. And then because I was the one doing it, I had to be there. Even on my days off, I would be there in the morning making the buns, and then I'd be proving them, and then I'd steam them, and then I'd leave them all out for the chefs to come in and be like, cool, your buns are ready. And I'd go off and have my day off and go back to bed. Little things like that. And it like, kind of, I guess like, when we started, I had this kind of naive, rose tinted.
Yeah.
where I kind of thought like we'll do everything. We can do everything ourselves, and we don't need any help. And I think learning that's actually the lesson, is learning to take help, learning to accept help, and to know that you're not the best at everything. You can't be. Like, obviously, play to your strengths, but if someone is available to you that knows more about something, fucking like ask them, call them up.
Who's been that for you? Who's given you the best sort of advice?
So many people over the years. There has been plenty. I think the guys from Honest Burgers have been incredibly helpful
Phil and
to us.
Tom, they're geez.
Phil and Tom,
yeah.
They've been incredibly helpful. Deacon knows them a little bit better than I do, but when we've had questions and when we've had, concerns and periods of, freakouts, like, fuck, what do we do in this situation? Like, having someone like that on the phone has been
What
really...
would you say that freakout's been when you're like...
Oh, like, as in, we're about to sign on a lease and then suddenly they've completely changed the terms at the last minute and they want 40 grand a year more, or, how to navigate things like planning permission and all the things that you don't, when you go into this business, you're like, oh, I'm going to cook some food and it's going to be beautiful and everyone's going to have a great time. You don't think about EHO planning. You don't think about, I taught myself how to do CAD so that we wouldn't have to pay an architect. CAD's
yeah.
We've done I've done all the floor plans for the restaurants because we didn't have the budget to do it.
Yeah.
Now we're able to pay someone that knows more than me, so we do. But
yes.
You don't realize how much everything. You don't realize all the other things that are involved.
And also how much people are actually willing to help.
And people also, that you're exactly right. People are, if you just ask for help, people generally give it to you. And like now I'm in a position where people ask me for help, and obviously I try and give it to them where I can.
That's another thing that's kind of macro, a load of bollocks about London, is everyone's like, oh, everyone's so miserable. Everyone's so miserable. It's like, it's because they're on a fucking tube.
Yeah.
Like, go to a boozer on a Friday night. Everyone's happy. And you're getting like, and that's another thing, I think there's a lot of podcasters, like these big ones that are sort of saying that, you go to London, it's all like, or even the north-south divide. Like, to be fair, people are warmer up north. Like, there's just no, But people in London are willing to help, especially in 100%. Food, and it's like you can just don't be like that's a massive learning I've picked up as well. Actually, is it's like I think especially in this country, I think it's like the whole thing of the whole sort that we're not going to help. That's bollocks. Like, and I think
it's especially like, look, as an Australian who's spent a lot of time here and having kind of good perspective on both, Aussies are like upfront, overtly helpful, and like we're very open people. English people, I think, can give off this kind of stoicness that maybe makes them feel unapproachable, but like,
what's your perspective from the other side?
Honestly, everyone in the food industry here, everyone that I've met has been incredible. I don't think there's anyone really that's been unhelpful or has not been up for a chat. In any capacity, and also from every kind of, I've got friends that are super high-end fine dining. I've got friends that are running, starting up like takeaway businesses, people doing kind of direct to supermarket ingredients, things like that. It's a beautiful community of people, and I think there's such a big lesson for me, and something I wish I'd done more is use that up and like ask for advice, go and have a coffee with. I think, like, I'm terrible at this myself. I never feel like I have time to have lunch with someone or have a coffee with someone. Every time I do, I feel like, man, that was so valuable. Like,
yes,
and even if the value in that is just you both having a bit of a whinge, getting some stuff off your chest and being like, it's really good to see you. I hope you're well.
And also just not being on your phone for half an hour.
Yeah, even like this is great.
Yeah.
And I think there's real value in that. It's hard to quantify maybe, but there's real value in that. Like, keep in touch with people in your industry that like you are all in it together, and it's not, as you said, competitors versus colleagues. I think that idea of competitors is hopefully kind of waning, and
I think if anything, it's like actually my therapist, when I was partying too much, basically he said to me, like, I was trying to sort things out, and I'm really oversharing here, but he was like,
absolutely fun.
like he was saying, sort of like resentment is a drug that you try, it's like a poison you try and give to someone else, but you're actually consuming it yourself.
Yeah.
And I think with competition is people can get like that, where they literally want to destroy their competition. It's like all you're doing by thinking about it is destroying yourself.
Yeah.
It's like all you're doing is literally hurting yourself.
It's just an insane.
It's an obscene thing, and I think finding that place of peace where it's like they're actually your colleagues.
Yeah.
And providing you're not, and you position yourself, allow them to sort of position yourself here as we're a fucking restaurant.
Yeah.
It's so wild. I spoke to Zan from Bleecker.
Yeah.
And it got a bit fucking weird, but I ended up talking about how you'd make a burger and almost like the Rolling Stones. And I was like, so who's the front man? Is it the patty? What's the bun? And we ended up she basically said with her burger, the bun is almost like the drummer. It should just sort of fade away and let the meat, like Mick Jagger, sort of fucking, go and prance around.
Yeah.
What's the art? Yeah, it's a bit of it got random, as I say, but what would you say is like, you've obviously made a shitload of chicken burgers. I mean, I'm sort of salivating now, but I love chicken burgers. Like, what would you say is your art of like the chicken burger? What's the most important bit? Where does the lettuce come involved? Is it like the sauces? Talk me through it, and maybe any of your burgers.
Yeah, no. I think it's a great question. I think, beef and chicken, two very different things. Obviously, like, I think because this is interesting, because we've tried to make the chicken in our chicken burger. We've tried everything we can over the years. Tried some dumb shit as well to make it unique, make it special. And I think like what we've always come back to is that like really like fried chicken, when it's in a bun form as well, especially, is like that kind of American style fried chicken it just works, and there's a reason for it. So we've almost gone a little bit full circle on our burgers, where like our chicken now is juicy, it's moist, it's well seasoned, it's crunchy on the outside, but that's it.
That's the symphony.
It's not, and it doesn't need to be more than that. And I think we've been like, oh, let's try and get all these extra spices in there, and you kind of just lose it all. I think for us, like the most important thing, obviously the chicken's important, but really for us, it's our sauces and pickles. Like, we have a central production kitchen now that makes, so we have a kitchen and our offices above it in Bermondsey. We make everything by hand there. Yeah. And we have Christian, our prep kitchen manager, used to be a head chef in one of our first sites. So he's like, he knows how it should, he knows how he's like the guru.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the fact that we make everything, like we do like 25 sauces and pickles from scratch every single day, like from scratch.
Why is that important to the?
Well, I think so.
That is actually the sauce and the pickles really, of Mick Jagger, Keith Richards.
Exactly. Wow. And I think for us, like the point of difference is like we put so much work into them to make sure that they complement the chicken, but also that they're delivering you these like kind of punchy flavors that are maybe a little bit unexpected as well. That's where, like, that's what our burger needs. And that's the most important part. Without that, it's great fried chicken, but I think there's a lot of people doing great fried chicken. And I think, like, that's where we differentiate ourselves from everyone.
Yes.
Also, again, our bun. I mean, we spent a year working on our bun with, actually, can't tell anyone where the bun comes from.
Yeah, we'll cut that out. That's all good.
But like our bun's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
And it really, as Zan said, it's a vessel. It's nothing more.
Yes.
It's a vessel. I think.
See,
really
weirdly, with a bacon sandwich, I actually think the bun is more important.
Yeah.
Like the soft. My favorite bacon sandwich is like the soft. You know, the soft sort of baps.
Yeah.
Like
the floured baps.
Yeah, the floured baps. Yeah. Like actually, the bacon's
you
actually.
You want that bit of flour in there as
you
well.
don't. Yeah, the bacon's not actually that important. You could go and get. I'd rather have shitty bacon from Tesco's and one of those floury baps.
Just want salt.
Yeah. Whereas you can get me the best pork in the world.
Yeah.
But if you've got it in some, like Hovis, 50-50, you're fucked. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
The thing is, I actually, for me, like I always get a bit annoyed with this. Like sometimes you just want a bacon and egg sandwich, right?
Yes.
Like you're like, yes, I had too many beers last night. I need a bacon and egg sandwich. And then you go, and it's fucking sourdough, and like there's big holes in it, and the eggs like squirting through it. I'm like, I actually want, personally, I'm a shit white bread kind of guy.
Yes.
I'm like, give me 2 fried eggs, not like gooey, but like in between, jammy.
Yeah.
A shitload of crispy bacon, and then, or top tip, half the bacon super crispy, half of it a little bit less.
Yeah.
A little bit of contrast in texture.
Yes. There. Yeah. This is what Ashley was saying.
Yeah. I also have ketchup, and then controversial, margarine.
Margarine.
Yeah, instead of butter.
Oh, margarine. I was thinking of marmalade. I was thinking, this fucking hell.
Marmalade.
This guy's taking something. No. I saw margarine over butter.
For me, like, my fondest memories of bacon and egg sandwiches are rolling into a greasy spoon hungover at 11 a.m. on a Sunday and just being like, give me 3 bacon and egg sandwiches. And they always use margarine.
Yeah.
And like they butter they spread the outside of it and they toast it on the flat top. And like, there's something about that flavor combo that's just stuck in my brain that I'm like, yes, this is right.
Yes.
And righteous, but I know it's wrong. I know it should be butter.
Yes.
I hate to say that.
It's so good.
I would never use margarine in any other circumstance. But on a bacon egg sandwich, fuck yeah.
Yeah. Again, as I say, I'm fucking scatty and go all over the shop. But back to the motorbike stuff.
Yeah.
Is motorbike stuff. But your motorbike journeys, like, what's some of the wildest places you've been to? Like, where you're like, this is. What's the most beautiful place you've been to?
The most beautiful places I've been have been on a motorbike.
Yeah.
So being in the Alps, like, there's some videos on my Instagram on the stories of like riding through, you know, like up in the mountains. And there's lakes either side of you, and there's like, you can see snow hitting the mountains, but it's like 20 degrees, and you're like,
that's sick.
Just, honestly, it's fucking incredible. There's this day where, so we'd been like riding through, we had a really shit day the night before, like 2 of us had broken down, we had to get apart, like we pulled into this old dude's house, and he let us use his garage. He spoke no English. We were like between like Austria and Germany. And one of the guys that I go on these trips with, Sven, is German, so he spoke some German, and he was like,
whereabouts were you in Germany?
Honestly, can't tell you. I'll find out. I can find out for you.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Yeah. A funny name.
Sure.
But we were like, we'd had this really bad day, and like I'd broken down the night before, and then like it was raining all night. There was a thunderstorm. We were like all drenched. Next morning, beautiful and sunny. We were like, awesome. There's this pass called Stelvio, which is famous road.
Right.
Like the first scene in the original Italian Job. I don't know if you've seen it. Incredible scene.
Yeah.
Guys driving a Ferrari. Beautiful song playing over it. I can't remember the name of the song, but it's fantastic. And then his car blows up in the tunnel. But like one of the most incredible riding roads in the world. Yeah. And we're like riding through this road, and I've got my headphones in, and Freebird comes on by Lynyrd Skynyrd. And
so I don't know. I'm not asking you to sing it now, but like, anyway, is that ding ding? Do you
want me to play?
Yeah. Go on. Yeah, go on. Otherwise, I'm going to do some rendition that's hopelessly shite.
It's so good. So there's a part where like it kicks in.
And you're just absolutely ripping it up.
And we're ripping it up, and then 2 eagles like fly overhead as it kicks in, and I was just on my bike like, yes.
Oh my God.
This is the best thing that's ever happened.
Yeah. What's the bit that it kicks in? Oh, sick.
Does this for ages.
Oh, sick.
Here we go.
I know exactly. Yes. Sick.
Oh,
yeah. All good. Yeah, I wish I was doing that. I'm getting into Richard's Ford Fiesta after this and driving through London. But I'll pretend I'm listening to Freebird by Lynyrd Skynyrd or whatever it is. But mate, so that's sick. And then, what would you say is some of the best music? Because I think, as I spoke to Stuart Blackberg about this, and we were talking about. So he's got an interesting thing about on the restaurant thing. Have you spoken to him about this? You should speak to him. So basically he says, we're not a burger restaurant. we're a restaurant that does burgers.
Yep.
So their point
it's a great way of
their point of difference, a bit like you with the sauces, and the pickles, is if you make their sides are oh my god, mate, their sides.
Incredible.
Oh my god, what is it? The brisket spring roll,
the spring roll
is phenomenal.
It's
It's like a thing of beauty. But every time you go to one of his restaurants, they're blasting hip hop.
Yep.
And I was asking him, why is hip hop such a good music to
eat to?
What I'd find fascinating is, obviously, as you said, Deacon was in radio and a DJ. Like, you clearly love some of the older sort of rock dad stuff. How do you create the music to create the magic?
So I think, like, for us, we've and weirdly, we were talking about this 2 days ago. We're like, is it time for a refresh on the music? We have, over the years, like, played around with a few things. I love a bit of, like, dad rock.
Yeah.
It can be a bit abrasive in a restaurant, but, like, alternative, like 80s music in a restaurant, just so fucking good, man.
Yeah.
Like, I love it.
Hot chicken, cold bitters.
Yeah.
You're up for it, boy.
If there's a bit of Madonna playing, I'm stoked.
Yeah.
You know, Roxy music, like anything like that. I don't know why in our setting it just works.
Yeah.
So we are like pretty heavy on like 80s music.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah, it's the best.
We love it.
When you're picking sites, how do you kind of how do you adapt to the local? Like, how do you do each one? So, for example, and obviously it's slightly different, right? So I interviewed the founder of Gales, Tom.
Yeah.
Fucking genius. Like, that Gales in Finsbury Park is wild. It's like going into a nightclub in the 80s, really. It's all pink. It's wicked. Fucking wild, yeah. And he was like, each site, me and Roy, we literally like maniacal about how each one looks and does it. And they have like this AI system. It's crazy.
To like figure out how it works for the location,
But like, how do you do that? Or like, do you want to keep it consistent? Like, as you say, you're trying to do more of a restaurant now. Like, do you want the restaurant to be the same at each place? Or
I think what we want is there's, if you go to any of our restaurants now, there's a common theme. There's obviously, there's differences in there. There's differences because multiple things: budget, time, learnings. What's worked, what's not worked. Tastes evolve. There is a common theme. Like and we always want to keep that. I think we're never going to be a brand where you walk in and every restaurant looks identical, where it's a carbon copy. We're never going to be. I think that works. I think for some brands it works really well. Hello.
Hey.
I would say for Honest Burgers, that formula works incredibly well. Because for me, like, Honest is like, you see it and you instantly go, oh yeah, I could eat that. Like, cause you know what it is and you're like, oh, I just want to eat some rosemary chips, man. It's all about the chips with Honest. We've talked about it so many times.
The rosemary,
the success of that brand is not only.
But I think also it's, again, one of the biggest learnings is always picking something that your competitors can't copy you on, and which is like kind of a weird foible. There's a great book by Will Guidara who wrote Unreasonable Hospitality, and basically he was trying to build the best restaurant in the world in New York.
Yep.
And he's like, well, we need to find something that almost their Achilles heel in our competitor that we can focus on, and they won't be able to do, or they're probably not thinking about it. So what they did is they decided to get. So why have you've got a wine sommelier? Why? All right. Well, why have you not got a beer sommelier? So they got a beer sommelier, and suddenly it's like no one's thinking of that, and it creates this touch point magic.
Yeah.
Same with Honest Burger. It's the chips. It's not actually the burger.
Yeah.
The pickles.
The burger's amazing.
Yeah. But it's the chips that are talking point.
The chips are like it's like undeniable, isn't it? You're like, oh man, but you walk past an Honest and you immediately know the brand and you go, cool, yep, I could do that, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think like we're I guess what we're trying to be is a little bit more of a destination brand where we want to create something. We want to create a space that people are going like, oh yeah, should we like book in for that? Because like there's, we want to try, there's like quite a big menu now and we can try a few
menus massive. Like,
I mean,
in a good way. That's something for a restaurant.
Yeah.
A la carte chicken is fucking genius.
Yeah. I mean, there's some really exciting stuff coming food wise, which I'm not going to tell you about now because I want to leave it for Tristan to be able to post about. But we're really excited about some of the food stuff that's coming on. I think with the fit outs though, like and picking locations is, I mean, look, when you're
in... You've got Brighton here, King's Cross.
Yeah, so Brighton is Shelter Hall, which is sadly wrapping up soon. Shelter Hall kind of
is that like
take on brands for a period of time, and then they rotate every 18 months.
Sure.
So we're gonna be back to the 3 dine-ins as the restaurants. I think picking sites for us is obviously when you're independent, you're hamstrung by cost. So there's sites that we've seen that we've gone, oh man, we would love that site, but they're asking $300K.
Yeah.
Premium on it, and like there's just no way we can do that.
Yeah, so, Where were some of those sites you reckon that you'd absolutely love?
Well, an area that we've been trying to crack for forever is Liverpool Street, because we started, Box Park Shoreditch. We had a site there.
Yes.
We're not there anymore.
You got the restaurant in Shoreditch?
No.
Oh. Okay.
No. We're not in Shoreditch at all. So.
So I read on Instagram. I thought you were opening somewhere in Shoreditch.
We're working on it.
Oh, okay. No, that was in 2017.
Oh.
Maybe I was just...
No.
Ignore me.
No, that would have been Box Park.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
So we just kind of like have this... I think sometimes like you've kind of got to listen to your gut. We feel there's a pull, like it's a gut feeling.
Yeah.
I couldn't really tell you why.
Yeah.
We've always wanted to be in that area. Finally, fingers crossed. Touch wood, we might have something.
Sick.
But, it's tricky finding sites. I think what we've had to learn over the years is how to make ourselves... we don't really write anything off. We're not a brand that says we've got someone who like looks for property for us at the moment. We don't say to him like needs to be 1,500 square foot. It's got to be this. It's got to be this many covers. It's got to be this. It's got to be this. It's got to be this. We just say like just come back to us. If he comes back with a pitch that's in an amazing spot, but it's only 800 square foot, we'll make it work. And I think that's where, if you're independent and you don't have the luxury of just going like, whacking a lot of cash on the table.
Yeah, the other side is you haven't got some fucker telling you what to do.
Yeah.
Like there's pros and cons.
Yeah, exactly. But if you don't have the money to kind of throw your weight around with, you have to be, you've got to be open to everything. And I think like we've got 2 sites that we're working on kind of looking at now. A lot of brands have not taken those sites because of, they're a bit difficult. It's a funny shape. The square footage isn't enough, whereas we're like, we'll make it work. Come on, give it to us, please. Like, I think, for us, we're very much like, we'll figure it out. I think that's our mentality and it's almost like we pick up on scraps in a way because, we're not going to be able to fight Pret on offering the same money as them for like the best pitch. So we'll go for something next to it that's not quite as prominent. And we'll happily do that because we believe in what we're doing. And we know that we can make the site still look great and we can work around an annoying layout or, like a difficult floor plan.
Yes, that links back to that. Like this is what they've given you, but that holding that tension of flexibility versus what you've got.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have to run in a sec. Final question.
No, it's fine.
What are some of your favourite restaurants in London? Again, I'm a fat little fucker, so I love to eat and try different things. So
favourite restaurants in London.
It's always a hard one. You're not on the spot. It's always like I was speaking to someone yesterday. It's like as soon as you're on the spot about your favourite restaurant, you're like, ugh.
It's like when someone says like, "What's your favourite song?" or like,
yeah, literally. Like because I asked it to Todd from who's eating with Todd, that guy. Yeah. We might be doing something together, but he was like, "Mate, when you asked me that question and I was like, what's your favourite pizza?" You went, and it's like, so yeah,
it's really tricky because favourite restaurant I think is okay. It's gonna be a long-winded answer.
Go for it.
Because it's so many different things depending on the day. Like, if you're talking like where do I eat the most?
Yeah.
I would say there's a few places that I eat all the time because I just love it. Like, I eat a banh mi from Q probably twice a week because I'm there. I'm in the area and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Love
Where's
it.
that? That's in.
They've got a few there. Soho, London Bridge. I eat at Goldmine in Chinatown, or actually the better one is in Bayswater. Just classic Cantonese. They're one of the only places that does dim sum all night long.
Oh.
So like you don't have to get in before 3 p.m. It's fucking great, man. The duck is incredible.
Have you been to Dumpling Legends?
I have. Incredible. Incredible.
Nice.
And the reason I don't go there enough is also, because there's always a queue.
Yeah, but also I love it how the service is so bad, it's good.
It's so, yeah.
They literally look at you like, you piece of shit. Like, what do you want? And it's so good.
That's what I want.
Yeah, that's what I want. I don't want those niceties. I want dumplings.
Yeah.
Treat me like a piece of shit and give me dumplings, and that's exactly what I want. Yeah.
I think like what was it? Was it J Cafe, or there was one in Soho that sadly closed, but they used to do Gen Cafe.
Yep.
It was green on the corner. I used to go and get dumplings all the time. Fantastic.
Dumplings are so
zero service. Like, zero service. I'd say, like, there's kind of two tiers to favorite restaurants. There's that side of things, and weirdly, most of it's like Chinatown. CNR Cafe for Laksa. Also, Speedboat Bar around the corner. Fantastic.
Mate, that is prodigious, that Speedboat Bar.
Xi'an Impression in Arsenal for the beef noodles. Also, get the bread and beef soup. It sounds whack, but it's fucking great. And then there would be Chang's Noodles for the lamb noodles. And then above that, I think Plonk is probably the best meal I've ever eaten.
Where's Plonk?
It's in Haggerston, I suppose. It's Haggerston.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Like, if you haven't eaten there, it's an experience. It's a modern European.
Yeah. You've been to Oran?
I haven't been to Oran, and everyone's told me
delicious.
I need to go.
Yes.
I've never been. And then I had a meal at Dorian last week, and it was one of the best meals I've had in my life. Like, the beef it's probably the best steak I've ever eaten.
Really?
Like, I can taste it now thinking about it. I think I don't know if it's glazed in a beef garum or like a demi-glace or reduction. I don't know what they're doing exactly because I was trying to see, but it's the best beef I've ever eaten. I'm sorry, I've got loads for you, man.
Yeah, mate. No, keep going.
Where else?
There's a big contingency of Aussie chefs. Is it Brett Graham is Aussie, isn't he? The guy does Lebury.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like massive contingency of Aussie chefs.
Yep.
Like, why would you, is that just?
I think I've talked to the guys about this because I've just come back from Australia, and the first picture I sent the guys was a picture of
as in Tristan and
just as soon as I got off the plane, my mum picked me up from the airport. We stopped off at Coles to get some food for dinner, and I was just like taking pictures in the supermarket, and I was like, look how fucking good the produce is, and look how much care there is. Like, there's no plastic, nothing's in a plastic bag, everything's open, everything's fresh. Obviously we have climate to grow it there, everything's local, which is brilliant. But like, food culture in Australia, I think the base level is higher. I think because people have there's such availability of great produce in Australia, it filters into common life more. And we've got amazing wineries in Australia, we've got amazing cheese makers in Australia, we've got incredible dairy, beef industries. Like, I think because there's so much local produce grown, it permeates the kind of culture so much more than it does with your general population in the UK, and therefore that raises the baseline, and therefore so many more people are interested in it. Like, I see on my Instagram all the time friends from back home like cooking like really good meals for themselves, really putting the effort in. I don't really see that so much in the UK with people that aren't in food.
Okay, so the base and sort of ubiquity of it is higher.
And also I think like dining out in Australia is maybe not so much now. I don't really know, but for me, living in Melbourne for the few years I did, like, dining out was so affordable and so fantastic. So, like, the food was so incredible that it just became the number one way you'd socialize. So rather than meet in the pub, you'd meet for a meal.
Yeah.
You still get shit-faced, but you'd meet for a meal.
Yeah, I actually way prefer that. Like, my idea of, like, I don't mind going to get binned in a pub, but like just sitting there and like slaying back Guinnesses is fun.
Exactly.
I'd rather have two restaurant long old fucking feed.
A long lunch is like, it's my birthday next week, and I just said to my friends, like, I want to go for a big meal somewhere.
Yes.
I want to have like 20 bottles of wine.
Yeah.
I think like in Australia, it's such an inherent part of our culture, and like also our industry. You know, where like so much of our economy is built on agriculture. So that's why, in answer to your question, I think there's so many Australian chefs moving, because moving to London's almost a way of proving yourself in a different market as well. I think it's the next step.
Mate, I fucking love that. You've got to run. We're a bit over, but that's
okay.
Absolutely epic. I always pick up like one thing. I think the main thing for me is like selfishly is this sort of confidence with your brand building, and like just fucking sticking with this.
100%. I think like for me the biggest learnings that I think we've had are like just staying true to yourself is such a wank phrase, but
the cliche is a cliche for a reason.
Having that confidence in yourself even when you've lost it, that like the original idea you had is the right one. And obviously there might be a new iteration of that and a new version of it, but the idea that you've held is still the right one, and just to roll with it. And also like take support when you can get it, use the people around you. Ask your friends for help.
Troy, absolute pleasure, brother.
Cheers, man.
Mate, that was sick.
That was great. Thanks, man.
Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, me too.